I'm Robbie Williams. This is my story, but I'm not going to tell it in an ordinary way because I don't see myself how others see me.
For the next 2 hours, your ass is mine!
To be honest, I've always been a little less evolved. I don't want to rock.
Michael, hello. Congratulations.
Thank you.
On this wild and wonderful movie. So I saw the great story that you told about meeting with Robbie and asking him what animal he saw himself as, and him responding, a lion. Yeah. So what I want to know is, when you went into that meeting, was this more of a straightforward biopic at that point and you knew it needed a wild element? Or was the monkey thing very firmly in mind by then?
No, the monkey was the only thing that interested me in telling the story of Rob. But obviously, you have to make it the star's idea. So that's where me asking him that question. And lion obviously wasn't going to work. But it was based on because we'd done a series of interviews where, kind of similar to this, we just sat on mic and just chatted. And that was over the course of a year and a half. I kind of went in with that question knowing that in a lot of those recordings, he would refer to himself as a performing monkey. Yeah. So I knew if I could get him to say that it was a really interesting way to frame it all, from the perspective of not how we see Robbie, but how he sees himself.
Yes. Those interviews, I take it, were happening concurrently with writing the script.
No.
No, not at all.
No, they happened before. Because the original recordings weren't even necessarily to make a film. It was me just wanting to capture Rob telling his story. And I just said to him, it may be for you to listen to in a nursing home one day, but you should capture these stories while you still remember them. And he was like, yeah, okay. So it was over the course of doing those recordings that the idea of turning it into a film started percolating.
And not just a film, but like a massive musical with like some of the most extravagant musical sequences I've seen recently. Yeah. Listening to Rob's music, were any of these sequences were the ideas of any of them formed in your mind when listening back to his songs?
No, they all came out of the script, right? So obviously the music informs the number and the energy behind it. But narratively, it was more like what in this moment would propel the story forward, which is what you always try in a musical number. And it might not be lyrically, it may just be visually, But you can, like in a number like She's the One, you sort of flash forward through an entire relationship, in one musical number. So that is the joy of musical numbers, is you can sort of be quite theatrical with your storytelling. And so narratively, each number is in its place to either lyrically or musically allow us to tell what is the next beats of the story. But depending on what number we chose would determine the sort of energy behind it. Yeah.
One of the benefits that you have with having your main role be via performance capture is that you don't have the thing many other biopics have of we need to cast someone who looks like Robbie Williams. So, here, were you giving Jono, more freedom to just inhabit this character how he wanted to, or was it still important that he watched old clips of Rob?
So, Jono did an incredible performance of studying Rob and also bringing him to life in a way that was compelling and emotional and engaging and grounded, and all the things that Jono brought. It was phenomenal. I'm in awe of Jono as an actor. He's an incredible guy, but just what a talent, just incredibly talented. But to the nature of performance capture, which is what this is, it does mean that even when the camera is on you and Jono's here and it's just his shoulder in shot, Jono knows that he can give a performance here and we can use that take as his main shot. So it's almost like the camera's always rolling on him. So he would be quite bold after he'd given a whole bunch of performances. He would still give something unique and something different each time, even when it was just, out of camera. So I think there was a real freedom for Jono to just dive into what is purely a performance he doesn't have to worry about his clothes. He doesn't have to worry about his hair. He doesn't have to worry about any of that. He just can focus on this very pure performance that really, the way in which he captured Rob throughout the ages, because it's not just Rob at one age. It's Rob as a teenager where he's got quite a high voice, and then that voice evolves to the Rob by the end of the film. So, yeah, I mean, he did the most incredible job.
Yeah, and I think that the startling thing for me is the fact that from the get-go, you immediately buy this one monkey that nobody is referring to as a monkey, just as a living, breathing character with everybody else. It is some of the most sort of like lifelike motion capture technology I've seen in film. I take it that this took ages in post-production to sort of get that lifelike quality of Jono's performance into the monkey.
Completely. I mean, that is all credit to Weta. Weta did the most amazing work on this film. They set up a studio in Melbourne, Australia, which I'm incredibly proud of. The team that came together was so passionate, and the work they did is remarkable. I mean, I think it's some of the best work that come out of Weta ever. And it's trading off, the sort of performance capture that they'd done from, Gollum with Peter Jackson through to James Cameron's work on Avatar, all the way through to the Planet of the Apes films. It's trading off an enormous amount of R&D that those films, if you look at the first Planet of the Apes film and then the last, there is an incredible evolution in just the performances alone. So it was after War of the Planet of the Apes that I was convinced, when you've got actors like Mark Rylance and Andy Serkis doing these wonderful, human, very subtle performances. And after I saw that, I was like, this is going to work. We can 100% do Rob in the same way with the same technology.
Yeah. So as we're coming to the end, I just need to ask, so many great musical sequences here. You've completely reinvented these songs that I've known since childhood in ways that I could never have imagined. Were there any Robbie songs that you wanted to get in the film that you couldn't find a space for?
Everyone was trying to get me to put Millennium in.
Yeah, why isn't that?
I know. It's just narratively, there wasn't a moment that made sense. So yeah, that was the one that I got a lot of grief from a lot of people for not putting in.
Okay, well, as we come to an end, you can just apologise before I say my goodbyes.
I'm sorry I didn't get Millennium into the film. It'll be in Better Man 2.
Better Men. Michael, a pleasure chatting.
Really great. Thanks so much. Cheers, mate.